Hi, and a very warm welcome to Space by Stansons, the podcast where we dig into the dreams, experiences, and lessons learned from leading voices in the design industry. Our guests are the real rock stars of this show, and we are super grateful to them. Today, I'm jumping into a chat with Greta, the design principal at Woodalls, and I've got 3 projects to ask her about. Firstly, an early memory that has shaped her career. Secondly, a current scheme we need to keep a lookout for. And lastly, a future project that would be of her wildest dreams. Before we roll, we feel the love when you share, rate, or follow the show. So please go for it. Now, on to Greta. Thank you, Greta. Thank you very much for coming along. It's nice for you to carve out time in your week and to hear about what you've done and where you've been and your projects, I guess.
Absolutely.
Just talk to me a bit. You're principal at Woodalls. Like, what does that look like, just in a nutshell?
So when I think about my role, sometimes I imagine it visually.
Oh, cool.
So there's almost like 2 bubbles. You've got our amazing team of designers, and then you've got another bubble, which is our clients. And then there's this link in between. So when I think about my role and what I do for our design team, is making sure that our designers, which is 10 plus, we have a big team now, has everything they need to do their best work. They're motivated and they are feeling happy at work, and also they're being challenged. And then our clients, it's very similar, making sure that we are challenging the brief, we're understanding the brief, we're understanding their aspirations and the vision for the future workplace. And then when you put the 2 together, our design team and the clients, making sure that there's that nice synergy between the 2. And the project is running successfully. It is achieving the expectations of our clients. The team is happy, designing. They've got everything they need. So I'm kind of that, let's say, link in between most of the time.
Is that a lot of meetings?
That is a lot of meetings, yeah. So in terms of the clients, that's meeting our future clients, meeting present clients. So it's nurturing those existing relationships, but it's always trying to obviously get more projects and keep the design team busy. Yeah. So yeah, lots of meetings with design team and the clients, but it's good. It's been really, really good.
And is your design team mainly based in your London studio? Or?
Yes, mainly in London, but we've got designers in Madrid, we've got a couple in Amsterdam, in Milan, and Berlin. So most of them will be helping us with the projects in those different countries, making sure that we are designing to compliance and to their standards, depending on the country, of course. So, but obviously the head design, the lead designers will be based in our HQ in London, and then the others would be to support, because obviously we've got projects all over Europe. So it's just easier that way.
Yeah, I didn't know you had so much in Europe. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
cool,
so we do a lot of traveling as well, which is exciting. And I mean, our team is so diverse. We've got people from all over the world, and just design team itself, we've got 50, maybe even more than 50% are not originally from UK. So we've got people who are Australian, Lithuanian, as myself. We've got a couple of Spanish people from South Africa as well, Venezuela. So it's a very diverse team, and I think every one of them adds something different, a different flavor to our team, and we love it. It's great.
Yeah, no, it is. When you get the different clients and you can like kind of match them.
Absolutely.
I guess it's your job in it, playing like.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Playing Pinder.
Absolutely. Matching clients. Yeah. The link in between the clients and the team. So yes, and for example, Miguel, we've just completed a TomTom project in Madrid. So he was leading that. We've got another one now in central Madrid as well. So Miguel is kind of our link between the London and Spanish projects. So it's great for him as well to be coming back home. He'll go to Malaga when he goes to Madrid. So, and also nurture those the relationship with our Spanish clients, which is great. You know, it just keeps things a lot more, I guess, easy.
Yeah.
Right? It's so much easier to connect when you do speak that same language.
Yeah.
So
that's a nice word, easy. I was trying to think what that would be, but it is just easier, just simpler, nicer. And so about you, but going back like to your early career, where did you start? Like, and how did you get into your like early project that you're going to talk about? Like, how did that all come to pass?
So I started my career at Woods Baguette. It was the studio back then was based on Oxford Street. The building is not there anymore. It got demolished a few years back. Mm-hmm. And I think we were like on the 7th floor, and we had an amazing view over London. It was really, really panoramic. And when I think of the project that really started off my career or helped to shape who the designer I am today, it'd probably be the Warner Music Group HQ, which was Warner Music. Yeah. Cool. So their HQ just outside High Street, Kensington. And it was a project that took, I think, about 12 months. But of course, just hearing the name, they were, super exciting client. And the brief was something between the lines of, create a fucking cool office, right? Yeah. So you don't get that very often. No. So the brief was incredible. And the group of women that I worked with back in the day, I mean, we were so close. We were colleagues, but we were also really good friends. And I think that made the whole difference. So when I think about it now, I feel really grateful and lucky to have started my career with that particular group of women, because they were great mentors to me. They're always super kind and very inspiring. And we all worked on that project together. So the brief was incredible. Of course, it really challenged our thinking and creativity, and just thinking about, we're designing the Rival and the artist lounges and the restaurant where a world famous stars will be coming in. And so that was quite exciting and uplifting. And back then, when I was at the beginning of my career, it was super exciting. It's something that we were all really, really proud of.
I bet.
Yeah, and all the different labels we had to design. That was 5 floors, and every floor had a different label, and that had a different character, because they were working with different artists. So they had to have its own flavor and be different from all the other floors. So it was almost like a 5 projects within one. And the building itself, architecturally, was quite interesting and had this massive atrium at the heart of it, where it was the hustle and the bustle of the whole building, that the beating heart, where everybody would come together and eat and meet and socialize and collaborate and just have fun and celebrate. And then there was this massive brick wall that went up the whole 5 floors. So it was a massive area of brick. And the client initially wanted a Zeppelin coming out of the wall, like a 3D Zeppelin, as a reference to Led Zeppelin, the band. And so that was really interesting. We're like, yeah, let's do it. That is fucking cool, right? Yeah. So that's very much aligned to the brief. Let's do it. But obviously, unfortunately, we had budget implications. However, we collaborated with graffiti artists, and they drew a Zeppelin, which looked really realistic. And at first sight, we were like, oh, there's a Zeppelin coming out of the wall. So remember, we talked about this previously when we said that the limitation is the mother of creativity. So I think this is where we really got challenged, and we created a very similar impact to the brief, but with spending a lot less money. So then we could spend that other money on things that really matter. And again, going back to the budget, we had to get really creative, and we were buying things on eBay, so accessories, Chesterfield sofas and armchairs, because that was the energy they wanted, this kind of a pre-owned industrial, something that feels already quite lived in and not new and not polished.
Yeah.
And we found these really cool joiners who were working on very cool restaurants all across London, like a very young company who we collaborated with. And they just met so many amazing, fun people throughout that year, designing that amazing, fun office with the girls that I was working with at the time, who I'm still really good friends with. And having a client who was challenging us and who was very open and who trusted us. And in the end, we did create a fucking cool office.
You hit the brief.
Absolutely, we hit the brief. So it was, and I think every time on every single project, it's really the people that make that whole experience a lot more enjoyable. Nice. If you love working with the people that you spend every day with, I mean, when you think about it, a human being spends approximately 90,000 hours in their life at work. So I think now we probably will be spending more still working, but not necessarily in the physical environment. That could happen from home or a cafe or whatever you choose to do your work from. So you spend the colleagues. Most of weeks you'll be spending more time with your colleagues than you will be with your children or your partners or your friends and so on. So I feel like, especially in London, it's really important to make sure that you have those close relationships and the people you like in that physical environment.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do so agree. Like what you said about spending more time with them and your family, it is totally true, isn't it? Picking the right team to be with.
Yeah.
That's obviously. So you obviously had to get creative and you had to push the boundaries in terms of creativity to fit things in within a budget. And I love the graffiti idea. How has that shaped how you now sort of go ahead and how you look at things when there's big ticket items or?
Absolutely. And thinking about, it's kind of related to, I think about if I had that project again, if Warner Music came to me or Warner Bros. Or similar entertainment company would come to me and ask to design an office to me and my team, I think it'd be even cooler, right? Because now with all those years of experience, what we've learned, what are the priorities at the moment as a designer? So not just the aesthetics of it, but actually how does the space make you feel? It's not just about how it looks, but it's about how it makes you feel. Do you feel happy? Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel inspired? Is a space making you achieve your best? Do you have spaces to self-realize yourself, or spaces motivating? So I think it'd be taking all that into consideration. The design, what it taught me was obviously the mentoring I had from my team, how they treated me as a designer who was a lot more junior than them. It taught me how I want to treat my team.
It's gonna say, has that changed how you treat your team today?
Absolutely. I always look back at them and I think, they make me feel good. Like I want to make my team feel good as well. I want them to feel like they can trust me and they can be comfortable with me and they can come to me when they don't feel their best, whether that's personal or professional. So yeah.
No, that's great. And then you mentioned that you're eBaying and on all of those like secondhand pre-loved, like getting furniture and dressing spaces, which has actually become very trendy to do that now from a sustainability perspective, and stuff has a story, and we've touched on having a story behind things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now that's very trendy, but back then, was there resistance to that?
Back then, I think that sustainability was more of a buzzword, right? Repurposing, circularity. This was more than a decade ago. So yes, you appreciated sustainability, but it was kind of like not everyone really walked the walk I feel like designers talked about it more than actually taking action and designing environments that are sustainable. Like now, every single product would have some sort of recycled content, whilst before it was a novelty until like maybe 5 years ago, maybe a little bit more. So back then we did it because of the creativity and being a bit different. And we wanted that pre-loved feeling. We wanted an environment to already feel like it's had some sort of life. It had some sort of history. And, you know, the Chesterfield sofas, they've got that, the leather is different and the color is a little bit faded. And we even purchased the lockers from eBay that were like vintage lockers, vintage light fittings and lamps and record players. So it was a lot of hunting for these really special, authentic products accessories that would add that extra layer of character. Because I feel like in the projects that we do now, yes, there's the built element and then there's the furniture. But if you add that extra layer of accessorizing, there's the books and the vases and the plants and the flowers and the little sculptures and statues and so on, and the cushions and the rugs and the table lamps, that really adds that feeling of more of a domestic feel to it. Makes you feel more like home. Because I feel like that's what you want the office to feel more. It's getting that right balance between the office and home that feels comfortable, that you come in and you feel like you belong there. I think belonging is quite important. And there was a study done, I think a long time ago in the 70s or the 80s, and they put people in a room. And they, in one room, they just put a desk and nothing else. And then another one, there was a desk and like a shelving and a few photo frames and a few pictures and plants. And then in one of the options, they let that person personalize the office. One was just a desk and you can't touch anything. And the other one was where you could actually move the furniture yourself to make it the way you want it. And it showed that the people who could personalize spaces, make them themselves, who had the autonomy, the ownership of the space, tend to be a lot happier in the office. It's just because you feel like you've got the freedom, you own the space. Not the space owns you, but you come into work and you have some sort of autonomy on how you can recreate the space that works for you, works for your team, works for the task that you've got to do on a day. Let's say we've got a creative workshop next Tuesday, and we need lots of pinnable boards, and we need curtains to divide the space up, and we need pens, and we need more modular sofas or tables. So if there's a space where you can do that's flexible and adaptable, people love those type of spaces. Again, at Kantar, the most famous popular environment is called the gallery. And it's a space which is actually, you've got your curtains there. You know exactly the space I'm talking about, right? And it's got the stacking chairs there. It's got the modular, the reconfigurable sofa. They've got some movable screens and writable boards. And every time we go visit Kantar, there's something going on there, whether there's a birthday or a meeting or a podcast or a celebration. Somebody was just eating cake and sitting around and having a chat and a couple of drinks. So these spaces like scrum spaces, spaces like this, the gallery at Kantar, people love to move things around. They love the freedom of creating their own spaces.
I love that you've picked up on that, because I hear about personalizing spaces and I get it. And I think COVID has made that more of a thing because we can personalize our homes, obviously, exactly how we want. And then we come to the workspace and we talk about personalizing space. And I'm like, well, how do you do that? Like, how can I personalize my workspace? I'm not going to start sticking up pictures of my family. However, and like the common one that you hear about is lighting, people adjusting the lighting to their mood, and it obviously plays, which is very important, by the way, of course, as you know, but it's a lot about, people's character types and all that sort of thing, which is great, and personalities. But when you start talking about moving furniture and modular furniture and opening up spaces and closing spaces down, I think that's really a really interesting way of personalizing.
Absolutely. And I think you're absolutely right what you said about being able to control the sound or the temperature, and you said you wouldn't be sticking family photos somewhere, but maybe we should. Like, why not? Right? Maybe there should be a dedicated wall space somewhere where people could get really personal.
Have you done that
This is
before?
my dog. No, but in the future, that'd be one of my dream office elements that I'd like to implicate. Let me think.
It's just interesting you say it, because I was at Google earlier this week chatting to someone there, and they have a massive wall in their office where it's all pictures of everybody's dogs and their name, because they bring dogs into the office, as you well know. And so so when you see a dog, if you can remember it from the picture and you can recognise it, you can say, "Hello,
kids.
Julie."
There's only one step, right? So maybe they'll start bringing their baby pictures soon and sticking them on the wall, and then partners next. So dog, baby, partner, and who knows what comes next. Yeah, but why not?
Why not?
It's just adding. It's being real. It's being human. It's sharing. There's nothing wrong about sharing your personal life with your colleagues that you spend 90,000 hours working through lifetime, right? So
it's interesting, and I must admit, if someone ever sort of brings, like, we have a shout out to Willow. We have a Cocker Spaniel here every now and again, sort of once a week or so. And she's such a delight. And I always love to meet Jess's Cocker Spaniel, because Jess is my colleague and I get to chat to her like lots and lots and lots. And when you actually get to meet like a significant part of her life, it's nice, right?
Absolutely.
And you just feel like you've got that better connection and everything. And so why not?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one study shows that people who are happier at work and feel more connected to their colleagues, they are 15% more productive. So, I mean, it's good for their soul, and it's good for the business as well. And I feel like, especially in London, like I said before, probably more than 50% of my team's parents don't live 2 hours flight away. So office, the workplace, physical environment starts to become this place of full connection, off connection. Because when you think about it, like how you made friends before, like probably first was kindergarten. And you had your little mates there, and then you moved to school, and then you went to university. And I bet, like, I have so many friends that I've made at uni who are my best friends now, but I also have best friends from school. And then you go into this other physical environment, which is an office, where you spend the same amount of time as you did at school or kindergarten. So then this is where you make that next generation of friends. And it's important. And when people say, "Oh, there needs to be a balance between work and life," and it always feels like life is one thing and then work is another one, and they're not related. But then you still spend like 30% of your time at work with your colleagues. So then when you think about it, it's how you spend your life that matters. Like, working is spending your life. You're spending your life at work. So you can't detach the two. So I feel like there needs to be more of maybe a harmony is a better word, or I'm not sure, but people tend to be quite disconnected from making the most in the physical workplace environment, making the most out of those relationships and friendships at work.
It's interesting.
I feel like there's more opportunities.
Yeah. Really interesting take on it. Work-life balance. Well, work is life, and life is include work. So.
How you spend your time, it's how you spend your life.
Yeah.
So if you don't care about how you spend the 90,000 hours of work, that's a big chunk of your life. Why don't we make the most out of it?
I love that.
And obviously this is where we where we come in and try to create spaces that encourage those social interactions and encourage the people's happiness at work, making sure they feel motivated, they feel healthy, they feel connected to their teams and to the purpose of the company, to the business. They feel like they matter. They feel like they're valued. Of course, there's only that much a physical office environment can do. There's a lot to do with the leadership, and the leadership should drive change and lead by example. I always say, us as workplace designers, we can plant the seed with designing an amazing office for you. However, how that flower is going to flourish is up to the leadership teams now and to the people and the managers. So we're giving you this amazing base. How are you going to utilize it? Are you going to make the most out of it? And how are you going to do it?
No, I agree that the space is really important, and it's critical to enabling and empowering people to work their best and to facilitate for everybody's needs and all of that sort of thing. The physical space is really important. I get that. But without the right leadership and the right culture, that the space is dead. And also without the right technology, which is becoming less of an issue now. People are more and more flexible. But back in the day, if you couldn't work from any location, at portable power or things on the cloud and all this stuff, which has now become normal. But we need technology and we need leadership and we need the spaces those three things to come together to explode.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. I think you hit the nail on the head. It's what we keep hearing from our clients are very much reoccurring themes of the offices are not built for humans. Like there's one we get very often. There's no spaces to socialize and connect. The technology is frustrating. What we've been hearing that a lot of the people just would rather stay at home and work from home rather than coming into the office because the technology works better at home. So it's so basic, right, when you think about it, but it's so important. So technology, making sure the spaces are human, making sure you feel like you belong and you can connect to the purpose of the company you work for. There's this term of people feeling solitude deprivation.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where you spend none or close to zero time alone.
Yeah.
And us as humans, it's super important for us to make sure that we have that time to reflect on our life, on our relationships, on our purpose, our aspirations, without any cognitive load around us or podcasts or music, any noise. And when you think about it, the best ideas you get is not sitting at your desk in the office, but it will be mostly when you're running or you're in a shower or you're walking to work or you're exercising. And I feel like we need to design more inspiring spaces like that in the office. But I feel like they should be quiet and serene. I mean, I love the design of your space, and that feels like a very warm, pleasant, quiet, soft environment where you could actually sit down, concentrate, and focus, and come up with the most amazing ideas. You know, because the most amazing ideas come most of the time when you're on your own. There's that saying with that the time with others enriches you, but the genius is born when you're on your own, something in between those lines. And it's exactly the same at work, I feel like. And you know that planned collaboration where you book a meeting room and you have to go and be creative. I mean, I do it, you do it, we all do it. But most of the time, the creativity flourishes in the most unexpected ways and locations and environments when you least expect it, and be like, bing, suddenly. So
it does make me smile because it is so true. You do have the best ideas in the shower and when you're running.
Yeah, I think we need to shower more at work.
We need to shower.
Okay, 10:15, time to go have a shower. a little running track.
Yeah, our next collaboration meeting.
You know, when we'll get to the future project of mine, the dream office. I mean, that's what it should have: showers everywhere, running tracks. I'm joking, semi-joking.
Don't think you
Maybe we could design something together, you know? I think we're onto something.
Because you only have to say to people, like, where do you get your best ideas? And it's either running or the bath or the shower or something, isn't it? And it is literally when you're alone. It is interesting.
Or when, you know, or at the bar sometimes as well. So that's why every office needs to have a bar too.
Oh, yeah. Well,
so course, yeah. Let's not forget that.
Oh, dear. But I was going to say, talking about your current project that you're dealing with, something that's kind of in fruition now. What have you got rolling that we need to be looking out for?
I feel like the most successful projects will be the ones where we've done the engagement with not just the core team of the client side, but also with their teams and head departments and other managers. Mm-hmm. I feel like whilst it is challenging now being a workplace designer. Like, I feel like since the pandemic, we were faced with a challenge of creating these amazing environments that people would rather be in comparison to staying at home. Right? So we have to create this amazing destination where we want people to be able to come in and want to be, rather than staying at home with their families and do the travel that's worth it and so on. So whilst it's been really challenging, I feel like this is like the best time for workplace designers as well, because now our clients are taking the time to understand what the people want. Like, they're actually asking the right questions. What will make you come into the office? Mm-hmm. Like, what do you need to do your best work? Mm-hmm. Whilst before, we didn't really have a choice. It's funny to think about how before we just came into work from 9 to 5 every single day, 5 days a week. Mm-hmm. Now I can choose, or a lot of companies still can choose. I can stay at home or I can go into the office. And if the office is not going to offer me anything better than a home does, then why would I go there? Like, it needs to have more value. So now we do a lot more engagement with our clients and the teams and various workshops and interviews online, in person, and we do utilization studies. So there's almost like, there's data, right? So data, it's utilization studies, online surveys. Data is facts. It needs to be appreciated and understood. But then there's also a story. Mm-hmm. And the story is a lot more human. It's asking people the right questions and really listening and understanding what your people need. What are their expectations from the future physical environment? Mm-hmm. So it's something you need to feel and understand and listen. So when you put the two together, the data and the story, then you have the foundation. You almost come up with your why, right? Why are we doing this? Like, and if you nail down the why, then the people will that is relatable to your team. They will understand it and they will support you, right? So they will support the core team throughout that journey of the new design of the office. So, you know, it all goes back to the people and listening. And it's going back to that almost personalization as well. At the beginning of our conversation, what we talked about. And it's when you make people feel like they're part of the process of the design. Mm-hmm. So with our previous projects with WeTransfer and Kantar and TomTom, we've invited various team members from the client side to come and join us in the showroom visits, and they made decisions. They picked the actual furniture pieces, and then it feels like they're actually creating their own physical environment. It's like, you know, you picking furniture for your home. Mm. So then when you come back to the office, it's like, oh, like, this is the piece I picked, right? I made that decision. Guys, listen, yeah, right, you know. Yeah. It was my idea to put a curtain there. So then you're designing together. Obviously, I love when the client challenges us, and I love when the clients love being challenged. Mm-hmm. So then it just becomes this lovely collaboration from both sides. But yeah, what makes a project successful is listening to the people and designing offices to people's needs.
Do you find that why people are bringing back to the office is a recurring theme? Like obviously you've got the problems that they're solving and what people want, but is it down to company profitability, or
why the people?
Why it's beneficial to have them back in?
So
is that not one you can answer?
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, I can absolutely. It's we've noticed that since the pandemic that we can do solo work really well. Like we realized overnight everyone's started working from home. Something that before we didn't think would be possible. Yeah. Before we'd be like, working from home, are you actually working? What are you doing at home, right? There was this mistrust. And then suddenly, for 2 years since 2020, right, we started working from home and it was fine. But what we realized that whilst we can do the solo working, problem solving on our own, what is suffering is the collaboration, the physical collaboration that's not happening between the humans, right? We're not connecting. The ideas, the productivity is suffering, and we're not. We don't feel connected to the business. We don't feel connected to the brand as much. We don't feel connected to the purpose of the brand because we're at home and we're not so exposed to everything that the company is doing or celebrating. And I feel like another reason whilst we got over the pandemic of COVID, another pandemic started, which is the pandemic of depression and loneliness and isolation. So there is the workplace depression stats, which say that nearly 60% of UK's workforce feels depression symptoms at least once a week. 60? Close to 60. So this is more than half of overall UK's workforce. And that has increased since the pandemic because people are social beings, right? So we want to be together. But if we're used to working at home and we feel isolated, then of course, automatically we'll feel more sad and lonely. So there's also, there's psychological aspects that are influencing the absence of a physical environment affects us psychologically. That's what I wanted to say. Mm-hmm. So, the collaboration suffers, people not connecting to the brand and feeling sad and upset, and because as we mentioned before, the workforce is a place for connection at this point for us, especially in London, when we live far away from our families, when we don't speak to our neighbors. Right? The sense of community is very different to what it was before, or what it was for my parents or my grandparents.
Yeah, because there's that takes a village to raise a family that kind of saying and concept which is out there, and everybody would know everybody on the street and all that sort of great stuff.
Absolutely.
But now we go to work and like you say, this in a great way, there's so much like mix up of cultures and people from different countries and all that sort of thing, which brings a massive like diversity and interest and layers and great exposure, which is all good. But then again, it means that person hasn't got that community around them, and they're in a foreign soil, and then it could well, like all your school friends and your university friends, they could all have lost, and
absolutely
they could all be in this one building. And it goes back to your early memories of a project and how important that is.
Absolutely. So you need to find your own community and sense of belonging and your tribe at work.
Tribe.
And even going back to tribes, so 300,000 years ago, there were a few species of humans. There were, I think, 6+. But the only species that survived, the Homo sapiens, is because they were able to collaborate with each other a lot better than any other human species at that time. So So they survived. So collaboration,
and that's us.
Through collaboration, collaboration, we survived, and we are where we are today. And I feel like what sets us apart from other mammals is the fact that humans can imagine things that are not already there. So imagination is almost our superpower. So collaborating and imagining things together, this is how we've managed to create the different civilizations and the languages and beliefs, etc. So I think we can't go backwards from how we started. So going back to work, you could just go back to the basics. What is important for us as humans in our tribe is collaboration. Collaboration happens in the physical environment. When you're sitting in front of another person, when you're feeling the mirror neurons happening, energy. Right? Absolutely. So
we're now getting into dreamy stuff, which is wicked. Favorite bit, right? We're getting into like the vision and the wild, and we
tribes.
Yeah, we unlock everything. Are we? What are we doing, Greta? Like, what's your dream project?
My dream project. So I think we've decided we're going to have showers and running tracks.
Definitely have running tracks.
But of course, like my dream project would be a physical workplace environment. I was going to say office, but I almost feel like office needs like a new name. You know, when you think it's going to the office, like office, and you relate it to something that's quite blank and monotonous, and it's got this like bright fluorescent lighting, right? Rows of desks and a zip tab. Nothing wrong with zip tabs. I love zip tabs, but you know what I mean.
But mind you, I have actually got a hang up with the word work. Because since when has work been a place that you go to, not a thing that you do? Whereas you do go to work, even on like Apple or whatever, you save work as a location. Since when is it a location? It's not. It's something we do. It's not somewhere we go. So I've got a big hang up with the word work. So it can't be called work and it can't be called the office.
Yeah. I mean, the first, they say that the first office was in 15th century, and it was the scriptorium. This is where the monks were copying scripts, basically. Right. And I bet it was a very different environment. It was probably green and ornaments and super quiet, and you're just there. Mushrooms. Probably, yeah. I mean, you know,
why not?
A long time ago. So, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I think it wouldn't be called an office. It'd be called something like a lot more personal, which our space, or you hear people calling it second home, which kind of is, you know, your second home or a place away from home. And I'd love to design something immersive, something that really activates your 5 senses of touch, smell, see, hear. Not everywhere, of course, but something's that is a lot more experiential, and it obviously would depend on the brand. But if it was, you know, a very cool brand like Spotify or Netflix or Warner Bros. And you could really have a lot of fun with it. How you translate the brand through art installations. And I'm sure you're familiar with the work of Acrylicize. They just do amazing stuff. I always feel so inspired by them, and I'd love to collaborate with them more. And so some things that really has an impact as you enter through the doors into the space, and you're like, and you know, maybe the experience starts before you enter into the building. Maybe it's outside. Maybe it's on your phone. Like that whole experience, how you see the brand and how it impacts you. So, but overall, like whilst I'd love it to be all super immersive and amazing, it would have to be still designed for humans and make sure that it's healthy, it's full of nature, biophilic elements and everything, and the space that feels like more of almost like a natural habitat to people, where we feel closer to the nature itself, in terms of the lighting, materials, furniture, everything that you touch, that you see, that you smell and experience, making sure there are spaces protected for solo thinking, spaces where you go energize, spaces where you can socialize with your team and build those new friendships and connections, and, you know, areas where that really activate your seeking system, right? And areas where you want to explore and be curious and experiment, and that when activated, you feel lots of dopamine and you're excited and happy. And I think motivation is very important when you're thinking about the design of the office, like what motivates people. And it is like with our ancestors, it's that the being curious and exploring and trying new things and wanting to understand things. That's how we got to where we are now. So we need to keep being curious, but being curious together in the physical environment in order to achieve something bigger and create something even more amazing.
And how would someone with a neurodivergent brain handle this ultra-sensory environment?
Oh, and that's why I mentioned that it wouldn't be everywhere, right? So there are spaces where you can go all crazy, and there needs to be protected environments for 20% of our neurodivergent population, which is every fifth person, right? So,
and I think it could be a lot higher.
Absolutely. We just don't know.
Yeah,
it could be 30. Yeah.
Most people, the time to get how long it takes to get diagnosed, or whatever the word is politically correctly, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, at least 20% is amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So it needs to be designed for different personalities, different needs, making sure people have choice, and they can pick where they go, and then they can pick how they want to reconfigure the space once they're there. So a good choice of spaces, it's key, I guess, giving people choice. What you need to do on a day. Do I need to go and really focus, and I'll go in the library and just lock myself away for a couple of hours? Or I feel super extroverted today and I need to see my team. I feel so happy. I want to have fun. I feel super social. I'll go to the bar or the cafe, right? Or
wouldn't it be great if someone was like, I'm feeling a little bit down, I've got to go to the office to cheer up? Oh my, that would be wicked.
I hope people do. I feel like that.
Yeah.
No, it takes your mind off things. I mean, I really like my team. So I do feel like they can make me feel better.
But there is a connotation, isn't there? Like, I'm sure you have a great experience. You work for Woodalls, you've got a great culture, you've got a great team. To be honest, I'm actually in the same boat. I actually love coming, and I love the people that are around me. Everybody is super nice, and I actually miss them if they go on holiday or something like that. I actually miss them, genuinely. But there is a connotation, isn't there? Like, oh, Monday, got to go to work. It's like, really? Just get a different job then. Well, imagine if that wasn't happening. It's like, oh my goodness, I get to go to work and I've missed it. I've had 2 days away from work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exciting.
I miss work. Do you miss work?
Yeah. I do, actually. It's quite an outlet for me, creatively. Can't say that word. Put my tongue back in. Creatively, I get to be very creative at work, which I don't so much in my personal life, which is...
I feel like, feeling purpose to work, and like you matter and you're making a difference and you're having an impact. Because in the end of the day, when you think about work, what it really is servicing other people.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
And that's cool. And that's what we should be doing. It's different communities coming together, supporting each other, because this is just like a whole circle of life, even within our industry, right? You're supporting me with the beautiful joinery and acoustic elements of yours, and I'm supporting at Woodalls. We're supporting our clients, creating these amazing workspaces where the people can achieve their best and then whatever their mission is, right? Creating the world's cleanest air mission, something like that.
For us to breathe.
Yeah, for us to breathe. So who does that?
Yeah, no, it's great.
No, so it's how you see it. And I read somewhere where it's if a person doesn't feel connected to the purpose, or they don't feel like they're making an impact, they're like 4 times more likely to quit and feel depressed. So it's important for us to make sure that we're making an imprint, right?
Your dream project, would it be on planet Earth?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're on planet Earth. In London, in England?
Oh.
Back at home?
Maybe be in Lithuania somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a beautiful second home by the lake in the woods where you'd have to cycle because, why not?
Why not?
Instead, so we wouldn't have a running track. It'd be replaced with the cycling to work.
You'd have like the most healthy staff out of the world.
Absolutely.
It could be a fitness brand.
Only really fit people would be able to, come and work there. No, I'm joking, of course. It'll be a very inclusive, welcome everyone into this office environment, of course.
Of course it would be. But then again, we can still promote healthy activity within everybody, can't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's great. So I love it by the lake, in the trees, and I support that.
Do you have an idea of your dream office? If you were to design an office or anything, it doesn't have to be an office. What would you build? What would you design?
I love stuff that unlocks people's potential. I think everybody has got including me, has got so much potential in them that's not unlocked. And we're limited by our own thoughts and our own mind and what we tell ourselves. And we can do so much more. But it's giving people that belief, giving them that, do you know what I mean? And giving and empowering them and enabling them. And that's why I love this, and I love Office, and I love design. And because I think it is one of those platforms, it's one of those outlets to unlocking people to become the best version of themselves. But that means genuinely so much to me that if I would love to work with disabled children and help them unlock and live the best quality of life that they could. That's what I would do. That I would literally, and it would be, I don't know where it would be, probably somewhere sunny because I'm solar powered. I am actually solar powered. So yeah, disabled children, somewhere sunny, and they would come in and they would have quite a limited outlook because of the upbringing or whatever the reasons, their physical abilities, and then they would leave and they would be like flourishing, like actually smashing life and living great quality of life.
That's beautiful.
Don't know how I'd do it. It was what I would do.
We should do it. It reminds me of I guess the idea of the project reminds me of our community project that we're doing with Woodalls for the Weavers Adventure Playground.
Talk to me about the Weavers Adventure Playground.
I'd love to. So at the beginning of this year, we decided as a team collectively that we wanted to do a bit more and use our design superpowers to support,
by the way,
local communities.
I love this superpower. Now carry on.
So got in touch with Tower Hamlets.
Yeah.
And we asked whether there was a little project that they needed help with, whether that's a youth center, a community center, a school, anything at all. We connected with this really lovely lady who suggested we support the Weavers Adventure Playground. So it's an adventure playground for kids in Bethnal Green, just outside Bethnal Green. So it's like 2 lines from Bank where we are to Bethnal Green. But the crazy thing is that Tower Hamlets, that's the borough, has the highest number of children in poverty in the whole of UK.
Whoa.
And that's really heartbreaking and shocking that in such close proximity to the city, where the biggest companies, right, live and flourish and so on. And then right next to it, you've got children suffering in poverty. So the Weavers becomes a safe space for kids to come after school or during holidays. And there's lots of lovely volunteers who work there, and they look after them, and they do arts and crafts or different dancing activities. There's amazing outdoor space with swings and climbing things and a basketball court. Like, it's amazing. I feel like, and it's all protected. It's all safe. And as for a kid, like living in London, it just provides an amazing facilities, being outdoors, running, playing, physically playing with your mates, rather than obviously sitting on the computer and doing it virtually. But also keeps kids away from getting in trouble and knife crime and things like that. So
you design the space for them?
So what we're doing now, we're going to refurbish a little area of where they do the arts and crafts. So it's a massive warehouse. We've done a mural in June. So they've turned 50. So us and the team went and we painted. The local artist designed the mural. We've various different manufacturers are donating things like lighting and flooring. The plan is to repaint the whole of the interior, repolish the floor. We're reusing the old furniture from our existing clients who are moving, and we're gonna take it into Weavers. So they're gonna have new stackable chairs and tables and everything. So, and it's a communal. Whilst we're doing it as Woodalls, supporting the community, where the whole of the industry is supporting, really, in a way. And we've got a Just Giving page as well. If you could share in the notes, that'd be very much appreciated.
Totally.
So, and and it's
Send me that.
It's something like that really it makes you feel just like you're making a difference. So you're not just designing offices for amazing clients and their team, but you're actually trying to make a difference and create a more inspiring environment for our younger generation, right? Who maybe one day will be designers and artists and painters or architects, builders, etc. So, so yeah, and it's probably one of my favorite projects, to be fair, at this point, because of the impact it will have on.
And whatever they choose to do, whether it's in the industry or not, the fact that they're getting a better shot at life, and they maybe have more self-confidence, or maybe they have more ability to reason or to present or something like that. And you just think, okay, fantastic. That's a good thing, right?
Yeah. Every time I go there, I feel so inspired. Like, the sense of community there is incredible. There's this one gentleman that we met. He's a third generation. So his dad went to that playground. He went to that playground, and now his kids are going to the playground, the two boys that he's got. And it's just like, it's incredible, right? So everyone's so kind and down to earth and just really, really lovely people. And I feel like London needs more spaces like that. And they can't risk to be shut, because that's just going to risk the well-being of the kids in Tower Hamlets. So this is a project we're really passionate about and we're very excited about. And hopefully we could make all the works happen by the end of this year and do a little opening, hopefully. Fingers crossed, right? This is the vision. So
you won't get anywhere without a vision, so you've got to start, haven't you? Love it. That's such a positive note, Greta, to finish on. Like, that we spoke about early projects, we spoke about what's happening now, we spoke about the future dreams, etc. But to actually then really bring that back and ground us into the community and what's happening today and what we're doing today to help the future as well as now. I think that's such a lovely positive note. And I think that's something that we can all kind of remember. That's really why we're here, and that's what we're making a positive impact in whatever we're doing, whatever circles we operate in. So thank you very much. That was a really delightful chat.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for listening. I'm also very grateful to all our guests.
If you've enjoyed it, please do leave us a rating and a follow. Or if you know who else would like to join the podcast, share the names. We're always open to hearing. Until next time, keep happy, keep healthy, and take care.